Hi there everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes weekly webisodes. I'm Sara Newman, and I'm so happy you're joining me for this episode of Saturday with Sara. Today I'm excited to show you a new collection from our friends at Stamperia called Hidden Grove. We have pattern papers, we have 3 sets of rub-ons, and a pack of chipboard die cuts, all with a really charming theme. So let's take a closer look. I'll move aside our rub-ons and our chipboard just for now so that we can take a closer look at our 8x8 patterned paper pack. Now this contains 10 double-faced sheets. You can see these beautiful illustrations in here, and you can get a sense of the theme that I find so charming. So you've got almost a fairy tale aspect here. You've got lots of gnomes, you've got lots of little mushroom houses here, beautiful backgrounds with some text and beautiful colorways as well. Really charming little characters that you'll encounter in this collection. And what I also really like about Stamperia paper packs is they often include several sheets of cutouts, as we have in this set. So here you can see on one side, these are so easy to simply cut out and add to the front of your card or the inside of your card. On the other side of the same sheet, you have the same shapes, but they have a border printed and some corner treatments on here. The inside is left open for you to add either maybe a sentiment. Here are some of the sentiment cutouts from this collection, or some of the rub-ons, or indeed your own message. So a lot of versatility with those. Here we've got some cutout sentiments. On the other side, you have a really nice versatile wood grain design. Here you've got some more of the rectangular focal or card inside images. And then again on the reverse side, you can see you've got some room to add in your own personalization. Now on the inside back cover and the inside front cover, you have lots of fussy cut elements. So you've got a really great value pack, I think, within this little collection with just the 10 double facing sheets. So many possibilities here. Then to go along, of course, we have our rub-ons. So there are 3 sets that we're going to be working with or playing with today. You've got Mr. Frog, you've got the Mushroom House, and you have Flowers and Butterflies. Now Stamperia always includes instructions on the back of the package of how to apply these. It's really simple, and of course I'll give you a demo of that today. So these are a lot of fun, whether you use each one individually or you combine them together, but of course they're designed to go perfectly with the other elements in today's collection, like our chipboard die cuts. So with that pack of chipboard die cuts, you've got 45 individual elements. I've put them onto 2 sheets of cardstock just so that we can see the different shapes. You can see the different sizes and the different elements, some which are large enough to be your card focals, and then you've also got some smaller accent pieces. So here are some of them, and here are some more. Again, our sweet little frog, we've got our hedgehog, and our gnome, plus lots of accent pieces on there as well. So as you can see, everything is beautifully coordinated, making it really easy to create your own cards and paper crafts with a really sweet and cheerful theme with our Hidden Grove collection. I'm really glad you're here today, and I'm so excited to explore the creative possibilities with you. So come play with us. Let's begin with this card, which uses the patterned paper as the background. I've got a cutout as my main focal, and then I've added chipboard elements around the outside to create a frame. And this is one of my very favorite combinations with the chipboard and the cutouts, and especially those scenery patterned background papers. So by scenery patterned background papers, I mean something like this. So this being 8x8, if you were creating 8x8 scrapbook pages, this would be a wonderful open area for putting your photo or your journaling. Now for card making, don't forget you can cut these sheets down and incorporate just portions of this scenery. And this is a great example of a sheet that is just perfect for that technique. So what I've done is simply trimmed a portion of this design, and I used this area over here, as you can see. I've cut this slightly smaller than the front of my card So I'm really incorporating that white background around the outside edge here to provide a little bit of lightness to the design. Now I've also done some inking around the edges of this pattern paper before I glued it to the front of my card. And I'm doing a double inking technique. I'm using two different ink pads. I've got the Warm Honey and I have the Dove Gray. Both of these are from Hunky Dory. These are dye-based ink pads. So let's take a look at how to do this technique. And I'll just bring in a piece of plain white paper so we can see. Let's use this one here. And first I'm going to start with my lighter color, which is the Warm Honey. And I'm doing a direct-to-paper inking technique by simply rubbing the ink pad along the edge of my cardstock. Now I'm angling the ink pad quite close to the surface of the cardstock, so I'm really getting quite a lot of ink on here. So if I put this up against another white piece, I think you can see how much yellow ink I have on here. Now this gives a really nice glow, but to add in some definition, I can just bring in a darker color. And then I can repeat the inking, but not going too much toward the surface, really keeping the ink pad more perpendicular. And then when I put this down, I think you can see that I've got a sharper line going along here. So I've got that nice warm honey golden glow, but I've also got that more defined line with the warm gray. So this will work with any of your ink colors. If you have a light and a darker contrasting color, this will do the trick. So great with maybe a light blue and a dark gray or black, same thing with a pastel pink and a darker color. So lots of different ways you can do that technique. But I like using the Warm Honey because it does give this nice glow on here. So I've got my cardstock glued to the front of my card, and then I added in my die cut piece and my chipboard element. So I'm going to bring back in my piece of cardstock here, and you'll just have to imagine that I've trimmed this down. So I've started with my focal element here. This is one of the cutouts, and I just love this floral. So I inked around the outside edges using the Warm Honey and then put this down, popping it up with some foam tape, giving me a little bit of dimension and allowing again some of the design here to create a frame. And then I've added my flower chipboard element. So I've got a piece that looks like this and another one that looks like this. And I've simply layered the two of them together. So I've tucked the blue flower just a little bit underneath there. Now when you do this, you'll want to kind of experiment with your foam tape a little bit too. So I've glued the blue flower down and then I've used foam tape to support some of the petals here so that I don't have things kind of crunching to one side. Then I've got my little blue mushroom down at the bottom. I think this is so sweet. I've got this little guy down here. And I really like these gears, and so I've got this tucked underneath here too. So I've got a lot going on, and I'm kind of crowding in this happiness word. Well, fortunately, the word happiness is also a cutout from the paper pack. So I've trimmed that out, and I added foam tape to mine before placing it down. And again, positioning that foam tape so that I've got a nice level surface on here too. And this is a great way to combine those chipboard pieces and the cutouts to create a really simple card focal. So that's what I've done on the front of the card. So let's have a look at the card inside. Now here I have some plain yellow cardstock. Now this is coming from, let me pull it out. This is from the Sunflowers cardstock pack, and that's what I'm using throughout this webisode. So you can see I've got lots of nice basic colors in here, and the red and the brown were just perfect to match with some of those mushrooms. Now I've got a rub-on element here, which I've just applied right to that yellow cardstock. And then I've got another cutout portion here with a rub-on, so the happiness is a rub-on. And then I have a lantern die-cut chipboard piece. So let me show you. These are the rub-ons that I'm working with. This is the large one that I've got here. This is the Mr. Frog collection, and then my sentiment on here too. Now, as I mentioned, these are really easy to use. Now, of course, there are instructions on the back, but let's have a look at a quick demo and you can see exactly how easy it is to apply. So let's do a quick demo with our rub-ons, and I'm using some of the rub-ons from the Mr. Frog set. So you can see it's this one right here. And I just really love the variety of designs on here. So you've got, again, that beautiful floral that I used on the last card, another really pretty one right here and down here. And then, of course, our charming little Mr. Frog. So what I've done is simply use my scissors to trim out the rub-on design that I want. Now, when I do this, I'm keeping the rub-on portion of the sheet with the liner together until I figure out exactly where I want to place them. And you want to make sure that you're not touching the back of the rub-on design because it can stick to your fingers. So once I figured out, okay, I want to put this onto my cutout piece, I can kind of move this around. Maybe I want this overlapping a little bit on that mushroom. Let's see if I can get the words straight on here. And I'm just going to smooth this down. Now, I like to fold up a little corner of that plastic piece. It gives me something to hold on to. I'll smooth this down with my finger, and you can see this is, it's on there. It's not going to move around. The next thing I need to do is grab my bone folder and simply burnish this in place. So I'm using Hot Off the Press's bone folder, and it's got a nice angled tip on here. So that's what I'm using to not only get around the outside edges of this shape, but also across the center. It doesn't take a lot of muscle to do this, but you do want to make sure that you've gone all around the design. And then what I'll do is just gently and slowly peel this back and make sure, whoops, like now, make sure I didn't leave anything on that sheet. If I do, just put it back in place and add a little more burnishing. So here we go, kind of walking this around, and it looks like it's all transferred really nicely. So quick and easy to do, and I really like how it gives you the option to create lots of layers. And here's another card example that will show you how to use some of the rub-ons and incorporate them into the background paper, as well as with some of your chipboard pieces. So there's a lot that you can do with these in terms of layering. Now with this card design, let me show you the sheet that I've used for my card front. Now again, I'm using just a portion of the pattern paper for the background. So this area over here, you can see the really pretty wildflowers that are coming up along the edge. And I've matted this onto a sheet of red cardstock from the Sunflowers cardstock set and then glued it to the card front. I did ink around the outside edges here with that Warm Honey ink pad too. And again, that gives me just a little bit of a golden glow around the outside edges, nicely contrasting with the red and the white border here. And then up at the top, I've got my gears. I've got a trio of gears here. And I thought it would be fun just to back those with some yellow cardstock from the Sunflower set before I glued them down. And that creates a little bit of contrast. And then I'm overlapping onto this floral piece here. So the floral is from the Flowers set, and it's this one down here at the bottom. So again, you've got lots of floral elements here that are just perfect for layering, but this makes it so easy to do. And then I've got my focal element here. I've got this chipboard piece, but I thought it would be really fun if we can play the game that I love to play, which is to show you how many different ways you can incorporate some of the chipboard with the background paper. So the chipboard piece that I used is this one here, and I've just simply placed that down. Now I've got the cutout, which is overlapping a little bit underneath that mushroom top. So I've got my mushroom here, and this is the one that I decided to go with. But I also have some other options, like I could have used this one too. Let's have a look at what this one looks like. Also really sweet. Then I've got a larger piece here. So this one, which maybe I wouldn't want to cover up this floral element, but I could put it over here. And that also looks really fun. And then I've got my gnome sitting on his mushroom. I could put him here, or same idea, I could move him over to the other side. So you can just see how easy it is. You've got so many different options here and lots of different ways to create your focal element. So then for my card inside, again, I've got another floral piece here, and that's just applied right to the inside back of the card. Overlapping, I've got my mushroom house here. I've got another butterfly rub-on, again, applied just right to the inside back of the card, and then my cutout sentiment here to finish it off. With this card, I've combined the pattern papers, a cutout, a rub-on, and some chipboard pieces, along with some leaves and some butterflies from Hot Off the Press's Flower Queen cutting die set. So this is the sheet of paper that I'm working with from today's collection. And again, I've cut it down smaller than the front of the card, again, leaving that white edge around the outside. Now, I didn't go to either side with this one, but instead cut a portion kind of from the middle here. And I really wanted to get this little blue mushroom down here and then have this portion of this corner area going around the corner of my card front. So this is the sheet that I used here. I've got lots of nice open space, which is just perfect for my card focal. And so this is the cutout that I used. Now I could have also used the other side here too. Got another little gnome on there and a message, which is really cute. But I decided on this side, and then I also decided to add my gnome rub-on here. I just thought he was really sweet as he's going on his walk. So again, just adding him right in the center there, and then inking around the outside edges and adding it to the front of my card. Then I've embellished around the cutout with the leaves from the Flower Queen set. Now this is a really great basic die set to have in your stash. You've got the large leaves, which are good for lots and lots of different designs. And you can of course use them with the coordinating small flowers, which I've done here, and also with the larger ones too. Now I'm just going to flip this over quickly so you can see. You know that Hot Off the Press always includes a project idea on the packaging. And here you've got a really nice card design that Debbie has done, showing how she's used different cardstock colors to create the larger flowers and to create a bouquet or a wreath. So this is a really value-packed little set. It's one of my favorites. So I've simply incorporated the leaves and the flowers here with some of the chipboard. So let's have a look. Now, instead of using the one that I used, I'm going to use our little Mrs. Hedgehog because I think she's really sweet too. And again, you can choose which side of this you want to use, but let's see if we can embellish her a little bit. Now I've got this home sentiment down here at the bottom. I could let that show, or if I decided, I could go on the other side here, cover it up, and add my own message. So I've got my flower here. I've got two chipboard leaves that I've tucked around underneath on either side, just to kind of make that a little bit bigger. And again, you're going to want to take into consideration the levels of foam tape so that you've got a nice even surface on here. And then I've die cut the two leaf elements. There's a larger one and a smaller one, and I like how they go in different directions. And this I've die cut with green cardstock from that Sunflowers cardstock set. I'll just lift this up and tuck this down. Oops, it's easier when you actually have everything glued in place, but I wanted you to be able to see. Okay, so then I've got my leaves going around here. And this again creates just a really sweet little frame around our focal image here. And then I can add my own sentiment as I wish, or I can even add in some of the other chipboard pieces, maybe another one of the ladybugs or something else, maybe like our little butterflies here. Now the butterflies are also from the Flower Queen set. You've got two. You've got a large one and you've got a little tiny one here too. So those have been die cut with the cardstock from the Sunflower set, and I back them with a contrasting cardstock so that I've got a little bit of dimension. And you'll notice my black hearts on here. Well, these are from the Script Dazzle set. Of course, I've got my hello down at the bottom. I love how you always have these little extra pieces, little flowers or hearts, or these swirls on here that you can use to incorporate into your projects as well. So a really quick and easy way to create a fun and dimensional card front. And then for my card inside, I've got some more of this patterned paper. This is left over from one of our previous cards. I've inked along the outside edges here. I've got my gnome chipboard piece. I just had to use him somewhere. And then Just For You Dazzle with that little baby butterfly die cut piece in here, and another little black heart to accent it. Our final card project is an envelope box design, which is one of my favorites to do, and it's one that is super simple to make as well using a cutting die. So this is the die that I'm working with, the envelope box card cutting die from Hot Off the Press. You've got 3 metal shapes included in this envelope, and you can see all of the various diagram sizes on here. They're listing how large each of those pieces are. So you'll die cut one of each piece, and then if you flip this over, you can see not only do you have the project idea, but you've also got your diagram on here and some written instructions. And what's really nice is that this is also the envelope where you can store your die pieces. I think this just makes organizing and keeping everything together a lot easier, because then you have your dies together with your instructions in a really handy little folder. So you're ready to go. So once you've die cut your piece, so here's my card base. I've got this center portion here, and then I've also got the front flap. So again, just die cutting one each of those pieces, and you'll do some simple folding following the score lines with your centerpiece as well as the card base. This front flap, you don't need to do anything with for now. But with these, what you'll need to do is just follow those score lines that you'll have when you die cut your piece, and grab that bone folder that you used to do your rub-ons and simply score those lines up. So here's your center portion, and then you've also got your card base. So again, just coming along and following those lines so that you can score these sides up. And I think you can probably see the shape of this and how it will come together. So here we go. Here's our main card base. If I hold it, you can see how that's going to go. So before you glue anything with this, what you'll want to do is add your center portion inside. And I've got a piece that's already kind of in process. I think this is a little bit easier to see. With each of those short tabs, you're going to add some adhesive, and that's going to hold that piece in place. Now, I do recommend the extra sticky tape for this because it will hold those flaps in place more securely than a regular double-sided tape or liquid glue. And you're going to secure the short end along with this first fold. And secure that in place, kind of wrap this around, remove that liner, and then kind of fold this up like so. And that's a little bit awkward to see, but I've got one that I have already done this step with. So you can see here how that's going to fit right inside like so. Super simple. And then what you can do is add your front piece here, and then you just glue that in place like so. And then you've got your envelope box. So let me again bring in my completed piece, and you can see. Now I've created the main portion of the card using some brown cardstock from that sunflower set. I've used some of this faux wood grain pattern paper for the front portion. And then I have my Mr. Frog chipboard piece. He's just right on the top. I've also added this flower right in the middle portion, glued that down. And then I've got a cutout in here with a rub-on sentiment, and I've layered up some of the other chipboard elements on here as well. On the back, I couldn't resist. I just had to add our little Mr. Frog on the back here too. Now, when you're displaying this card, it will stand up really nicely. When you're mailing it, all you need to do is flatten it to one side to put it in your envelope before you give it to the recipient, who I'm sure will absolutely love it. I just think it's a really fun and very different kind of card design. Super simple to make and really fun to give as well. And that is our final card project of the day today. A big thank you to our friends at Stamperia for this very sweet and charming collection. I had a lot of fun crafting with it. And a special thanks to you for joining me today. We're really glad that you're here, and we're so happy you're a part of the Paper Wishes family. Do feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. For the money saver, see this webisode on paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It does help people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.